Hi guys, welcome. Friday afternoon, late in the day, so thank you for your attention and thank you for still being here. So I'm from GMG Digital. We're a specialist digital agency that use data to track all of our decisions. So I was going to talk to you today about consumer psychology and online shopping funnel. I was going to talk about all of the metrics, stats, figures. I was going to talk about the 5-point of the shopping funnel and clicks and attribution, but I figured it's 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. You've had a really heavy week. Your attention span probably is fading. We have 8 seconds at best, according to new research, to get people's attention and keep it. So I've decided I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to talk about you. Because everybody in the room here is probably an online shopper in the last week or two, bought something online. And so let's talk about your psychology during that experience. So let's start with understanding where everybody in the room's at. You've had your mind full of, it's Friday afternoon, so if you haven't been here all week, you've had work, and then you've had lots of speakers, lots of content, lots of learning, and your head's really full, I'm sure. You're probably all thinking about your trip home and beers tonight with the lads, or going out with friends, and probably not even in the room psychologically. This is a selfie of me after 5 days at an event, so I know how you feel. So I decided I'm going to do 2 points. Really clear that I want to leave you with these, and they're not particularly complicated. In fact, they're fundamental basics. But without these, I feel the most amount of tools, the best facts and figures, and the latest type of technology won't work. So I'll tell you a little story to start with. I recently was looking for a bike. I love bike riding, and I went online to find a bike. And I did digital marketing, so you should think that I know how to find my way around the internet. So I was looking at several websites and trying to find this bike. But the problem was the websites weren't catering for me, who's an amateur at understanding what the different geometries of bikes are. It was expecting me to know what product I wanted to buy, so I could say, I want one of those boxes shipped to me, please. The solution was I had to go into a shop. I had to try some bikes. I found the shop on Google. I did Google it and found it on the search engine and went in. But I had to go in a shop. I had to spend more money than what the bike was online, just because the information wasn't available online to educate me as to what I was looking for. So it's a bit participatory, so I'm going to ask you to turn to the person on your right, just checking that it's not mirror effect, and I want you to discuss the most latest online shopping experience you've had. We've got 60 seconds, so please turn, say hello, and start now. So what did we find? Was there a clear message? Did we really know what we were being sold and understand that? What was our experience? Generally, most of the time, the answer is no. The individual that's writing that message is coming from their perspective, their mindset, with everything they know, and they're forgetting that we're not them. That's not taken into consideration all of the noise that happens on the internet. Now, if you're like me, you'll Google something, you'll open 5 or 6 new tabs, you'll go through multiple pages, so there's that noise going on. There's also Outlook messages, Facebook notifications, there's all sorts of things happening which take away our attention. And that's just on the outside. What's happening on the inside? How many of you here right now are thinking, God, when's this over? I want to go home, or am I going to catch that flight, or is there going to be Uber available when I finish? We constantly have this dialogue happening internally. And we need to understand ourselves, what's going on for us, before we can start talking to our customer and being clear, or our spouses, or our partners, or our parents. Clarity of message is all pervasive. So I chose this image because I'm going to ask you to, George just did it a minute ago, but you can do this sat down. I'm going to ask you just to straighten up, relax, just become conscious of your breath, and breathe in, and then breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. We have to have that calmness. There's so much manicness going on in the world. We have to become present, because if we're not present, we're never going to be able to come up with what our message is and be clear with our message. We have to have that connection with our users, that connection with our audience, because otherwise there's so much going on that they'll never hear what we have to say, and what if it's really important? So I'm just going to ask you to turn to your partner and discuss, in that shopping experience we just spoke about a minute ago, what was that message? Was it clear? Was it not clear? Was it convoluted? Again, 60 seconds, please go. Thank you. Most of the time we find, and probably everybody here will, that message wasn't very clear at all. And a lot of the time, the reason why the message isn't clear is just because they don't know who we are. Like, if I'd have come and given my normal presentation, which I give to individuals that are really technology savvy from Divi, that haven't been anywhere else, they haven't spent 5 days or 3 days in a seminar, I'm just spending an hour with them, they can take in facts and figures. But the fact is, if I started talking about those facts and figures with you guys, I'm sure you'd glaze over. So you have to know where people are at in order to deliver your message. So you have to know your customer intimately. Now, this is open to ambiguity. I mean, know your customer by knowing the attributes about them well, not have some kind of intermarital affair with them. So, where is our customer at? Generally, they're on a two-dimensional device. At best, we can get them on two sensors, and Anne earlier just spoke about we're trying to move towards more sensors. But in essence, they're holding the device in their hand, and all they're doing is they're probably listening to music, or if you're at work, not listening at all. So you're down to one sense, which is visual, which is really shallow to be able to communicate and connect with your audience. In the old days, Raj said, I'm from retail, 3-generational retailer. We used to have greeters and people come in the shop and we're like, hi, Mr. Wachelsky, how you doing? How's the grandkids? All right, Steve, how's that bike you bought last week? Tony, how's that TV set you've got? We used to know everybody that came into our shops. Now, digital space is starting to allow that with personalization and being able to have that knowledge and facts about our customers so we can have that interaction. But we've got to be really careful that we make it personal and not just a robotic, we know you bought that, so we're going to speak to you about that. Ambience. Again, in the old days, in stores, they have music. And some stores you go into and they might have cooking. And so you have smell. And they certainly say the best way to sell a house is to bake bread in the oven before you get people coming around. I remember we used to work with a couple of supermarkets in the UK, and we changed the tempo of the music. So during the day, it was a little bit calmer. So people dawdled a little bit and therefore put more in their shopping basket. And during the busy periods, we made it a bit quicker. So people moved through the store quicker. We got more people through the checkout, which meant more increase in turnover again. How do we get that ambience into our online experience? 9 out of 10 companies surveyed by Gartner say that customer experience is where it's at in 2016. We really are looking for an experience now. It's not about the price of the product, because it's almost become a commodity, the price. It's not about the selection of the products, because a lot of products are the same. We can get a lot of different selection now. It's about the experience of that purchasing. opportunity. So when we're on a device, we need to think about what are our customers doing? I mean, some of you guys are probably using your phone to take messages, some of you are probably on Facebook, but some of you might even be shopping right now. And you're in an audience full of people with me speaking. I mean, how distracting when somebody speaks to you while you're trying to shop. So it's the same thing, like we're on that platform, we're scrolling through, we've got notifications coming, we've got somebody just bumping into us on our right, our train's late, we're thinking about going to get told off by the boss for being late to work, and the website is trying to get our attention. I mean, that's why you have to build a real rapport with your customers and really speak to them, really have a genuine connection, because otherwise you're just going to get lost. Could be sat next to your spouse on the TV couch, or doing the unmentionable, but we won't mention that. So I'm not going to leave you with too much facts and figures. I don't want you to read this. This is just an example of how intimately we get to know each of our customers' customers. So when we take on a web project or a marketing campaign, we want to know who are the most likely users of that website and who are the most likely consumers of that campaign. We want to know, where are they from? Where do they go to university? Who are they going out with? What are their likes? What are their needs? What are their wants? Because it's only by knowing Shanyan that he wants to experience events with his family because he works away, doesn't get to spend time with his family, that we can then communicate those through the website or through the marketing. So with that in mind, thinking about that recent online purchase we spoke about just recently and shared, how well did they know you as an individual? Were they speaking to you, or were they speaking to everybody or anybody? Please turn and share. Thank you. So what did we find out? Most of the time, websites don't know us. They might remember our name if we're signed in, but they don't recognize who we are and what we're doing. And that technology is coming, but when we deploy that technology, we really have to make sure that we're using it to have genuine, one-on-one connections with our audience, that we're not just using it to silo people into a bucket. Oh, well, Mr. Type A is this type of person, and that's what they do. So what are our takeaways from this? You really need to do two things. Everything else will fit on top of this, but you have to have the basics. You have to be clear with your message, and you have to know your customer intimately. Know where they're at, know what's going on for them. So my name's Tom Green. Now, the talk was going to be based on this white paper, so if you would like a copy of this white paper that talks about consumer psychology when online shopping, feel free to send an email to my email address, and I'm more than happy to send you a copy. Thank you very much. Raj.